Welcome to the Randy Report. I'm Randy Slovacek, your host. I'm also the writer and editor of therandyreport.com, where you can find me every single day on the internet reporting on the daily news cycle in terms of politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. In this week's headlines, we saw the first active professional baseball player come out as gay. Moderna has begun phase 2 trials of its new potential HIV vaccine. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg and his husband Chasten have become parents of 2 newborn babies. And Emmy Award winner Billy Porter says he doesn't care if he ever plays a straight role in the future. All that and more in this episode of The Randy Report. Pro baseball player Brian Ruby became the first active professional baseball player to come out as gay this week, telling USA Today Sports, "It's about damn time for this." Ruby says he knew at the age of 14 that he was somehow different, so he sought out activities where other parts of his life could not only express themselves, but thrive. First, as a professional baseball player with the Salem Kaiser Volcanoes, a minor league team in the Mavericks Independent Baseball League. While admitting he's not a hotshot prospect, Ruby acknowledges you can't find a single active baseball player who is out publicly. But coming out this week is his attempt to help, quote, future generations of baseball players who don't have to sacrifice authenticity or who they really are to play the game they love. In addition to baseball, Ruby has found solace and success as a country music writer. Penning tunes for country singers in Nashville, like out-recording artist Hayden Joseph, Ruby has already seen 2 of his songs hit the charts. Ruby, soon to be showcased in the upcoming documentary, Out in Nashville, says he initially thought being gay would be a huge weakness in the Nashville music scene. Although he couldn't relate to the bro country genre of country music, which focuses on drinking beer and hooking up with girls in the back of a truck, Ruby realized he could bring something different to the table, saying, "Love songs don't need to be gay or straight, and I've been able to write my best songs by being authentic. I kept thinking about the little 14-year-old me who was scared because I'm a baseball player who loves country music," the 25-year-old told USA Today Sports. He added, "Those are worlds where people like me are told they can't belong. Being closeted for basically 10 years, it was a struggle the whole time. I used to hate myself, hate how I felt. I'd ask, why am I feeling this way? I kept having people tell me, be very cautious of who you tell, or they don't need to know your personal life. The best way to describe the hiding as an athlete is like you're running with a weighted vest on. It's on all day and you can't take it off. And I've been gradually taking that weight off." Ruby says he came out to his family and close friends 4 years ago. This summer, he took the next step in telling his teammates. And this week, coming out public is the last step in revealing his authentic self. Although Ruby says, quote, "I don't like the connotation to coming out, because it's more like inviting in." 3 years ago, Ruby wrote to former pro baseball player Billy Beane, who played Major League Baseball from 1987 to 1995. After retiring, Beane came out and is currently Major League Baseball's ambassador for inclusion. Note, to date, no major leaguer has come out publicly while active. Beane responded to Ruby's letter and has since become a mentor to the young athlete. Beane also gave Ruby a pair of shoes that he wears in every game. Beane told USA Today Sports, "The beauty of it for Brian is that he's not playing to become a big leaguer. He's playing because he loves the game. I couldn't be prouder, and I definitely think Brian's story is a stepping stone in the right direction." Ruby joins pro footballer Carl Nassib and pro hockey player Luke Prokop in the small but important club of professional out active athletes giving representation to the LGBTQ community. And regarding that, Ruby says, "Each time someone comes out in industries where queer people have not been historically represented in the mainstream, it helps to crumble the myth that you can't be yourself. But we're in the 2020s. It's about damn time for this. If I can help just one person from this, then that's greater than any single hit or home run or win that I ever get on the field. Congratulations, Brian Ruby. The biotech company Moderna has begun human trials for its in-development HIV vaccine. The HIV vaccine will be the first of its kind to use messenger RNA, also known as mRNA, the same approach that Moderna used in its highly effective COVID-19 vaccine. The clinical trials began in mid-August and will end in spring 2023, according to the National Institutes of Health's trial registry. 56 HIV-negative participants aged 18 to 56 will take part in the trials. Participants will be given one of two forms of mRNA that hopefully will cause the body to form defenses against HIV infection. In the past, potential HIV vaccines used inactivated forms of the virus, but over and over, those trials showed no immune responses. In fact, researchers canceled one trial in Thailand during the 2000s after inactivated forms of the virus were found to actually increase people's risk of catching HIV rather than preventing infections. Instead, the Moderna trials will contain one of two different types of mRNA to encourage the body's cells to develop a protein spike on their surfaces. These spikes are similar to those embedded by HIV on a cell surface when it begins to infect cells to reproduce. When the body recognizes the presence of the mRNA spike, it begins producing antibodies to protect against the HIV infection. The mRNA approach will reportedly allow scientists to make tweaks to the vaccine against future variants more easily, because it just requires an update to the coding sequences in the mRNA that codes for the variant. As we've learned over the course of the HIV epidemic, the virus is known for having mutated into at least 16 known variants. Moderna's mRNA vaccines passed Phase 1 testing earlier this year. Phase 1 trials test safety by administering different dose strengths and observing how the body and drug interact. Phase 2 trials test the vaccine's overall effectiveness. Then, Phase 3 trials will compare the safety and effectiveness of the new vaccine against current HIV prevention medications. If the vaccine successfully completes Phase 3 testing, Moderna can submit its studies for approval by the FDA. Then, the FDA will conduct Phase 4 trials for widespread testing and cost analysis. If in the end it's successful, the vaccine could become widely available, helping to end an epidemic that has ravaged the planet for over 40 years. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg and husband Chasten have shared the news that they are now proud parents. Pete tweeted the news on September 4th with a photo of the couple holding two newborn babies. He wrote, "Chasten and I are beyond thankful for all the kind wishes since first sharing the news that we're becoming parents. We are delighted to welcome Penelope Rose and Joseph August Buttigieg to our family." Last month, Pete and Chasten shared that they would soon become parents after a long journey through adoption. The couple began dating in 2015 and married 3 years later in 2018. The happy news makes Pete Buttigieg the first ever gay parent in the U.S. cabinet. Earlier this year, he also made history when he became the first out gay person confirmed by the Senate for a seat in the U.S. cabinet. Congratulations to the Buttigieg family. Tony, Grammy, and Emmy Award winner Billy Porter says he would be perfectly happy not to play a straight character again because he's tired of the view that playing straight roles is somehow better than playing queer roles. In an interview with Attitude magazine, in advance of Amazon Video's new take on the Cinderella tale, Porter says that conversations around queer roles in Hollywood at the moment are more about balance than anything else. In the updated reimagining of the classic fairy tale Cinderella, Porter plays the Fab G, a genderless take on the iconic fairy godmother role. Porter's probably best known to many today for his award-winning work as Pray Tell on the hit FX series Pose, which focused on the New York City ballroom scene of the 1980s and 90s amid the HIV crisis. He's also been lauded for his work on Broadway, where he won a Tony Award for his role as Lola in the stage musical Kinky Boots. I like saying that. Kinky Boots. In his chat with Attitude magazine, Porter was asked his thoughts regarding the ongoing debate about queer actors and queer roles. He said, quote, "I do believe in an across-the-board way that queer roles at this point in the game should only be for queer actors. The only reason why I feel that way so strongly is because queer people playing straight roles is not the same. We don't get the same thought, we don't get the same opportunities in that way. It's imbalanced. I think the conversation is more, for me, about balance. I personally don't care whether I play a straight character or not ever in my life again. That conversation is rooted and based in this idea that playing straight is better. That's not true. It's not better, it's just different." Billy also thinks his roles in Pose and Cinderella show things are changing in Hollywood, saying, "We're in a space where people in positions of power are open to what that change means. I just want to take advantage of it and make sure that I make the most of this moment, and we all make the most of this moment, and that this kind of representation is here to stay." On playing the Fab G, Porter says being a queer man along with being a gender-free character is magical. He added, "Magic has no gender. That's been my tagline from the moment the ink was dry on the contract." You can watch Cinderella now on Amazon Video. Celebrity makeup artist and beauty influencer Nick Metos adds a chill romantic dimension to his body of work with his new single, Right Side of the Bed. With a laid-back, sexy vibe that never tries too hard, Meadows seems to know that he's in his musical sweet spot. The bluesy, guitar-driven track has just the right touch of gentle percussion and rhythm that leaves his vocals front and center. Meadows says the song was inspired by his boyfriend, Max, quote, "the man I wake up next to every day." He shares in a press statement, "This song came straight from my heart and talks about how I know I'm waking up on the right side of the bed when I'm waking up next to him." Since releasing his first single, See Me, in 2019, which has garnered over 100,000 streams on Spotify, Nick has been writing and recording music while expanding his clothing brand and launching his upcoming skincare line, Busy Boy. As a makeup artist, Meadows has seen his work featured in Vogue Italia. He's also collaborated with many celebrities, including Emma Kinney and several RuPaul's Drag Race stars like Bianca Del Rio, Willem, and Detox. You can find Right Side of the Bed on Apple Music and the iTunes Store. And that brings me to the end of this episode of The Randy Report. If you enjoy catching up on LGBTQ news in a quick podcast, I'd appreciate it if you would share it with your friends. I like to think of The Randy Report as the 60 minutes of gay news, only shorter. And remember, you can find me every single day on the internet at therandyreport.com, where I cover the daily news cycle regarding politics, pop culture, and entertainment news of interest to the LGBTQ community and its allies. I'll close this episode out with Nick Metos' new single, Right Side of the Bed. Thanks for listening, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.
Think about the list of things I need to do. Morning hair, I don't care, I light up when I look at you. Sun through the windows, city noise I hear from a pillow. Then your voice turns my chaos to calm, and my ocean is here in your arms. The truth is I'm racing with all the shit inside my head, but with you I can say I'm waking up on the right side of the bed. Right side of the bed. Wipe the glitter off your face from the evening before. Take my time, I don't mind, there's no stress anymore. Sweats and a t-shirt, stretch my legs. Song on the speakers as it plays. You make your way across the room. Yeah, one look and I'm back in the mood. The truth is I'm racing with all the shit inside my head. But with you I can say I'm waking up on the right side. The right side of the bed. Side of the bed. There's no way I can say in my mind when you hold me. Oh, now when I'm feeling something divine every morning. Yeah, the truth is I'm racing with all the shit inside my head. But with you, I can say I'm waking up